I am so pleased and so happy that Senator, Councilor, and Senator Edwards is joining us today. You know, usually I try to have two speakers for graduation, an opening and a closing. And if Lydia had taken the closing slot, you know, I would have found somebody for the opening. But once she said she was going to do the opening, I said, there's nobody else I want to speak. I mean, there were two speakers that I thought would be perfect for this class, and one, Lydia knows Jaquetta. One was Jaquetta, and then the other was Lydia, and I got them both, and I couldn't be more psyched about for getting them both, because they are they're perfect for this class, and Lydia in particular. I mean, she has spent her entire life, not just her career, but her entire life, working for and helping to support those, the underserved. I mean, before she was in elected office, she was doing work for Greater Boston Legal Services. She was in Chinatown doing work with CPA. She was coordinating. This is before she became a lawmaker. She passed a law. She coordinated a statewide campaign to pass the Domestic Workers Bill of Rights, and and she did that. Before she even became a lawmaker. I mean, and once she became a lawmaker, that she just took it to the next level. She working for affordable housing, reducing airport pollution in her district of East Boston, fighting the Battle of Suffolk Downs, which was a ginormous battle. And so, so I can't tell you how excited I was when she decided that, or she said she was going to run for state senate. And that's when we first met about 6 years ago, when she first ran for the seat, and now she ran it for it again, and she won. And I can't tell you how excited I am that she is a new state senator, that she's going to be representing an even broader district and helping more people up at the State House. I mean, her story, I'm rambling again, sorry, I'm just fawning all over you, but her story is inspiring. I mean, not just her story, she is inspiring. She is inspiring, she is smart, she is kind, she is bold, she is one of, she is one of, if not the most resilient people I have ever met. Really, she's one of the most resilient people I have ever met. And most importantly to me, she's a friend. And I count her as a friend. And in this business, you never know who is. Sometimes you don't know who isn't, but she truly is. And so I'm so happy, I'm so proud, and I'm so grateful that she is here as our graduation speaker. And so I present to you Boston City Councilor and State Senator Lydia Edwards. So Lydia, please, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I love these conversations, and that's what I call them, where I talk a little bit about how I got where I am, and then kind of open up for folks to ask me any other questions that they may have and their own thoughts. So yes, today I'm a senator, I'm a city councilor, I'm an attorney. I've accomplished a lot of things, but I can honestly say, one, I didn't know I would be where I am today as a little girl. And two, it took me like losing a lot to be here. And it took me, it wasn't a straight pathway. It starts off with my mother. My mother raised my sister and I by herself. I have a twin sister named Erica Edwards, and she's a professor at UNC Charlotte. And my mother was in the Air Force. And so what that meant is, when she's a single woman in the Air Force in the 1980s, when she would do TDYs or she would have to travel, she oftentimes had to leave us with other folks on the base for, we were 6 weeks old when she had to do her first tour and had to leave us in the care of somebody else. And that was a lot for her. But it also was the beginning of my being part of different families, of different races, of different backgrounds, and having different people be part of raising me and be part of my definition of elders and people who I go to. I loved growing up on military bases. For those of you who don't know, on the military base, housing is assigned by rank. So you have officers in one section and then non-commissioned officers in another. And on my street, it was basically every single racial group you can think of, multiracial, so on and so forth. So I had an incredible upbringing that was very diverse until we moved off base. And we were in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. My mother retired there. That's on the border of Canada, or it's on the border of Canada. There was an Air Force base. We stayed there because at the time we all scoffed at it, that there was no way Russia was going to attack. So, you know, we closed those bases, we've done everything, and God, it's really surreal right now where we are in this world. But anyway, we retired there, the base closed. And that's really when I understood a different kind of struggle. Minimum wage is $5.15 an hour, and that's what my mother made. So she had 2 jobs. I had a job, and so did my sister. And we would pool our money together to help pay the rent and pay our bills. I eventually got a scholarship to go to school in New York. I went to Marymount College, a women's college that eventually merged with Fordham. I wanted to be an attorney ever since I saw Separate but Equal with Thurgood Marshall. I wanted to be an advocate and a fighter ever since someone, I still don't know to this day, donated money to my family and envelopes of money with "Your Guardian Angel" written on them in our mailbox. I still don't know who helped my mother pay bills while I was in high school. And I've always wanted to pay that back and be someone else's guardian angel. So going to law school was a dream come true. Graduating law school I had a huge amount of debt, and I wanted so badly to be the guardian angel, but I didn't feel like I could afford it. So I went to a large law firm, and that was my first major loss. I was off course, if you will. So practicing law, but not loving it. And then the recession hit and I lost my job. And financially, it was something that felt incredible to make the amount of money that I was making to help my mother, because I wanted nothing more than for her to stop working. I wanted to raise enough money so she didn't have to work, because she was still working. My sister was still in school. I was paying off debt. But I lost my job, and so now I'm trying to find a place to live. And I ended up volunteering at the Immigrant Center, the Brazilian Immigrant Center, now the Brazilian Worker Center. And then I found myself. I was a lot of people's guardian angels, people who didn't speak English, who were undocumented, who I met, and they reminded me of my mother. Hardworking, single moms, 2 and 3 jobs, doing what it took to pay the bills. And the only difference was that they didn't speak English and they were undocumented. And then they were being exploited, weren't getting paid, sexually harassed in the job. Nannies and house cleaners were getting all sorts of horrible treatment because we just didn't define that as real work. So I took on the cases. I opened up a little legal clinic with 2 cardboard boxes in the kitchen. That's all we had money for. I ended up writing my law firm, who had just let me go, asked them for resources. They sent over a whole bunch of stuff. And I opened up a little clinic. By the end of the year, I was speaking Portuguese. I was learning Spanish, and I was taking on whatever case. I didn't care. But the cases I loved to take on the most were the nannies and house cleaners. That led me to my second loss, or series of losses, because I would go to court and I would fight for their overtime. I would fight against their sexual harassment, and the court just consistently said, "I'm not paying her. She's a glorified babysitter. I'm not paying her. I'm not going to pay her overtime." And in the state of Massachusetts, when you violate the wage laws, you also have to pay triple damages. And they wouldn't pay it. They felt it was unjust. It was almost like she was getting a windfall. And it was disgusting. It was sexist. It was basically saying, you know, care work isn't really skilled. And they would never have said this to a construction worker who has a jackhammer, right? All day. If he didn't get paid, they would have said, "Are you kidding me? Triple damages, overtime, all of that." It was never questioned his work value for getting paid, but they questioned hers. So I began to be more involved in movement building because of that. And we knew we had to change the law. And as Leverett mentioned earlier, there was the Domestic Worker Bill of Rights. And that movement came from that. The workers that I was helping to organize and meet with and talk with around the state, we wrote the law together. We had a constitutional convention, if you will, where we had the declared rights for care workers, domestic workers specifically. We introduced it, and it was filed by my senator at the time, Petrocelli. We got 99% of what we wanted. in one session. And I've learned how to lobby. I learned how to figure out how to talk to people, to work a bill throughout the state. I didn't know anything about it, but we got it done. It was a beautiful movement led by immigrant women and of all backgrounds, Irish, Russian, Guatemalan, Brazilian, Dominican, Chinese. It was incredible. But we partnered with their employers who were predominantly professional women. And we said, her ability to pay her rent is deeply connected to your ability to take out and knock down the glass ceiling. You need to go to work and you ain't going unless she shows up. And she's not showing up unless you pay her a living wage. Do you see how this works? You can't exploit her and then expect to go fight against sexism at your law firm, at the hospital, at the courthouse, or wherever the heck you're going. And so we had a panel of professional women who employed nannies and house cleaners, which was very important when you're talking about movement building and fighting for systemic change. There is no other side, is what we were saying. This is the right side. It's the moral side. We went to churches. We went everywhere we could to talk about this being the moral imperative. Care work is real work and it deserves to be paid, period. And so that I learned a great deal about how to build a movement based on common struggle and also economic gain for all of us. Paying your nanny is a good thing. It helps her be a better nanny. It helps her show up on more time. It helps her be consistent. At the same time, you want to do that extra hour that it takes to become, partner in the law firm. So then it came to my third and final loss to get on the road to being the senator. The Senator Petrocelli actually retired after the Domestic Worker Bill of Rights. And there was a special election in 2016. And I ran for his seat because I was a constituent. And I lost. I lost the Senate race to my good friend, Joe Boncory. And the following year, almost a year to the day that I lost, the city councilor announced that he was stepping down. Except this time it wasn't a special, it was a regular, so I had more time. And I won the city council seat 4 years ago, becoming the first person of color ever to represent East Boston, Charlestown, and the North End, and only the second woman in 25 years. So it was 4 years working hard, learning from that loss, learning how to just ingratiate myself in community, and then minding my own business as a city councilor. In September of 2021, Joe Boncory stepped down and the special commenced. And I put my hat in the ring, and this time I won. I became the senator of the seat that now represents East Boston, Winthrop, Revere, several parts of Boston, Chinatown, Leather District, Beacon Hill, and also Cambridgeport. And I'm the first woman, and I'm the first person of color to do so. So I try to explain to people it wasn't a straight shot. I had to lose and get reset and get refocused to understand how to win. And so for many of you, I don't know all of your life stories, but I bet many of you have had to have a reset, a refocus, a bounce back. And I just, these are just three that I've had professionally. Personally, I've also had some too. My boyfriend died in 2020, and I've suffered great loss. And I encourage everyone, first of all, therapy is incredible. Take care of yourself. I had an excellent therapist, and so don't ever sacrifice your mental or emotional health for getting the job done. Only person that suffers is you. Take time for yourself and plan joy. So that's all I'm going to say. I spoke a little longer than expected, Red. I'm sorry. Happy to open up for any questions. But just know that, I bring up what makes me, human, mistakes I've made, because, sometimes we forget. We forget we're just human. So thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, like I said, your story is inspiring. Your resilience is inspiring, and you definitely, I think, just knowing this class, your story resonates with so many. people needing resets, people trying to figure out, what their next steps are and all. And I want to see if any folks in the class want to either ask a question or just say something, just say something. Sarah, I see Sarah with her hand up. Sarah, would you like to ask a question or just say something?
Lydia Edwards, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
I admire you so very much. Thank you for all you stand for. And like, to know that you have done all this, even with the human sides of coming from where you come from and experiencing what you have experienced, is really important and inspirational, and thank you. And I'm going to use what I learned in this class to plug a policy platform. First of all, sending greetings from my organization, Center for Economic Democracy. Hellos from Armani and Aaron and so many of us. We really admire you. Dignified work is the bedrock for a strong and prosperous economy. And I know you have stood for that and for cooperatives for so long.
Oh, yeah.
I recently joined your cooperative, the National Black Women's Creative Cooperative. Woo! I'll share the link with all of you wonderful women, because we can be creative and create a beautiful world together. And I just, I want to thank you. I also want to tell you that I used a quote from your Why Do We Need Bylaws for my coalition, because we need bylaws. You don't have to have bylaws, but it helps you invest if you know where you're going. So you're helping me get organized. But I really want to share with you our policy platform. It's really an exciting time for us. I know what this means because of the Commonwealth Seminar, but the issue is that, like, we have two pieces of legislation that have moved out of committee and are moving towards Ways and Means. And one has to do with worker representation on corporate boards. And the other one has to do with creating resources for worker-owned cooperatives. And I would like to send you our policy platform.
Of course.
I think you'll be familiar with a lot of this. And we are also looking for budget, because basically a lot of people want to start cooperatives, but especially you were talking about access to money for school. Like, people in Black and brown communities, BIPOC communities, when I started a co-op in Worcester, it was, my dad who fronted the money for the truck, And so that's why we don't have a lot of cooperatives run by communities of color that are really, working at scale in this state. And so we really want to address that access to finance, access to TA, and our platform is about that. I hope you'll support us in that. I'd love to talk to you about it more. And I really admire you, and I really wish you all the best.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Shoot me the, I'll just put my email in the chat.
Thank you so much.
And speaking of putting email in the chat, before we get to Sahana and Ling Mei, Tori, Victoria Wu, Tori, would you please put your email in the chat so that folks can reach out to you about the Beyond English program? I forgot to ask you to do that. And so if folks do know programs or communities where we can share our program in a different language, please email Tori and CC me on it. And that way we'll, the two of us will double team and tag team, and hopefully we'll get that program off the ground. So Tori, if you could put your email in there, that'd be wonderful. Sorry, I forgot to ask you to do that before. So thanks. And again, thanks for joining us, Tori. I know how busy you are. So, and let's see. So I guess next would be Sahana and then Ling Mei. Great, thanks.
Thanks, Leverett. I'm not going to be, thanks to Sarah. That was very impressive with all the work that you do. And thanks to Senator Edwards, who is here. I just wanted to plug in and say that I did phone bank for you before the special election. So I was glad I did that. I'm from Acton, and when Senator Eldridge asked the Acton Democratic Committee to kind of volunteer for you, that was one of the things that I did, and I'm so proud that I did do that for you. And I am extremely amazed with your story, and very inspiring. And thank you for sharing that with us tonight. So,
thank you, Sahana. Thank you for everything.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sahana. Thanks, Sahana. Ling Mei.
Hi, Senator Edwards. Yeah, I am the former editor of Sampan, which is like a Chinatown-based newspaper. The Sampan is a small boat. It's not the Society of Asian Media Professionals. It's a very small but community-focused Chinese English newspaper. I just remember going to like the Senate talks, and it was just like 6 of you at like the Chinatown school, and it was just so great to see like a woman of color and not just the typical white guys that make up like 99.9% of the state house. Like it was just like, oh my goodness, like there was a Chinese American woman, there was a Black woman. And so I just really loved your campaign. I also really loved your tenure on the city council. And it's just, you were always looking to build consensus. You built a coalition that was like diverse. The Chinese newspapers always say that we don't like Mayor Wu because she's not sucking up to Asians enough. And it's like, yeah, because we're only 10% of the electorate. Like Mayor Wu wants to build a colorful coalition, not just Asians. And so, yeah, and what you said about growing up everywhere on different military bases and being a military brat and moving all over, like I had that experience too, because I'm an immigrant. I was born in Taiwan. I lived in Britain because my dad was a professor and he was like getting a doctorate. And then we moved back to Taiwan and I went to international school. And so like I had Korean classmates and Japanese classmates and like British classmates and Malaysian classmates. And so I really felt that informed my worldview as well. And then I moved to the Midwest for my first job. And it was just like, I was the only Asian woman in the room a lot of time. And people would talk to me like a first grader and just be like, hi, honey, where are you from? And it's like, California, where are you from? Like, so I really respect that, like, you bring a very diverse lens to your work. And I'm also really sorry about the loss of your boyfriend. I lost my daughter this year, and then this pandemic has just been like so horrific for anyone. And I really hear what you're saying about therapy and planning for joy. Like this month is going to be my daughter's birthday. It's going to be the anniversary of her passing. It's been something I've been struggling with a lot. My therapist is just like, whatever you need, just call me. I will drop everything. And I think it's sort of just like on her birthday, I'm going to go have like Taiwanese food. And it's something that I eat like all the time when I was pregnant. And so my daughter was like almost 8 pounds when she was born. And it's sort of just like, I think, yeah, just holding space and grieving, but also finding the joy. I think I really respect everything that you've stood for, and also just your vision. I think just realizing that and putting, not being cynical, but like taking action. I think that's really wonderful.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Lingmei. That's very moving. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's see, Kamaya, I think your hand is raised. Oops, are you there? There you
Yes, yes. Hi, good evening, everyone. It's so great to see all of your faces. I'm sorry that I have on a mask and that my camera was off. Right now, I'm multitasking. I got a general body meeting that's gonna happen at 7 because, you know, Black women, we be doing it. We be doing the thing. So thank you so much, Counselor, Senator Lydia Edwards. I just wanted to say, like, really, it's empowering for you to come on here and share your story, just because for me personally, I'm a senior right now and I double major in political science and human services. And so I'm very interested in policy. I do see myself running for office one day, particularly in Massachusetts. Like, I want to stay in my community and represent, because I'm a proud product of Boston, proud product of BPS. And so I admire your story, not just because you're from Boston, but you're also transparent that it wasn't a one-way ticket. And although while I am a young Black woman and I feel like people try to prescribe that narrative onto us, I do respect of like you being transparent, because for me personally, I also had like a little bit of a rocky childhood and experiences of loss. And anyone who's experienced loss over these past 2 years, it's been devastating. Everyone has experienced loss in one way or another. And I do echo Lingmei and Counselor, like, please get help. And also, like, remember your loved ones because they would want you to push forward. But honestly, me personally, I really, really do appreciate you coming on here. One selfish plug, if you have any job openings in the Senate, because I would love to be another Black face that they see and get annoyed at and be like, yeah, I'm here, and we're gonna do it. So selfish plug for me, but thank you again for coming and just sharing your story, honestly.
No, thank you. And I'll send Leverett our job postings. But also there's a huge network, which I think the Senate has been horrible at doing, getting outside of the Senate. They'll post, hey, by the way, I'm looking for new legislative aid, but it'll be like to all the senators, like, you know. And so I think that they need to, I've been encouraging, and what I've been doing is sending them out. So Leverett, I'll just start to send you the job postings in the Senate as well, because it just becomes kind of incestuous, you know. You get in as a legislative aide and you find out about the legislative director, then you find out about the chief or the policy, and you're moving around within the building, but we're not actually diversifying pipelines. So I'll just send it to Leverett if that makes sense.
That's perfect.
My last
We'll put
thing
it
that
on our job board, yeah.
I'm so sorry. The last thing that I wanted to highlight is that I just think it's so special that you're in the Senate, because before you, we didn't have any Black women in the Senate. As of right now, we've had them before, but like in the past couple of years, we haven't had any Black women representation in Massachusetts Senate in particular. So I think it's just so special that you're starting to break that barrier and diversify it again. And I hope that in the next 5 years, it looks like the city council. So
yeah, no, I'll just say this to plug in some. So I'm the only Black senator we have, by definition of Black American. We have Afro-Latino with Adam Gomez, but in terms of Black American traditional through the diaspora, so on and so forth, that it's just me. But this is where, you know, at Commonwealth Seminar, there's pipelines coming up. There's at least, there's the Lawrence Lowell seat, Methuen seat. There's that where there's at least 2 people of color, a Black woman and Latino man running for the Senate seat there. We have, of course, myself and Adam. Then there's the new seat created where I think so far Nika Minyard and Liz Miranda are running. Then there's also potentially, I think, someone running from Brockton to the new Brockton-Randolph seat. So there could be as many as 5, possibly 6 senators of color in the state Senate. And considering that there's 3 right now, doubling is huge. And it's 5 or 6 out of 40, which makes a huge difference in terms of the conversations and the committees that we're on as well. So just if you're interested in getting in races and pipelining and getting involved, tons of opportunity.
Oh, fantastic. And I love how Kamaya was being aggressive with that. So good for you. Keep doing it. Keep being aggressive. Don't be shy. That was awesome. So I was so happy to see that. Anybody else with any questions, comments, admiration, anything like that? Okay. And I mean, if not, well, we know you're. Oh,
right here. Hello.
Hey, there you are. The UMass crew. The UMass crew. Go for it.
Yeah. So the camera's not on me yet, but hi. Here. Just kidding. I'm in Sarah's camera too. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
We got like 5 people at UMass, so yeah.
Yes. Good morning. It's morning somewhere. I wanted to say thank you on a lot of fronts. I think that one thing that spoke to me as an Afro-diasporic kid, especially is in the assistance you were giving to immigrant communities, as you were talking about working with the Brazilian community. I know that especially as I study a lot of how language is a determinant of health, it's very important to me when I look at the ways that portions of our community are locked out with linguistic barriers. I've translated in food pantries, I've translated in medical rooms, and I'm looking at the way that malpractice and malresource disbursement continues happening. And I'm trying to fashion and understand better how I want to establish my role in working with more Afro-diasporic immigrant communities, especially, and what that linguistic recognition and promotion looks like. So it definitely gave me a good window to hear what you were saying. I do have also a selfish question, which closer than the work of Black women, at least in the sense is, as you talked about joy, I wonder then what advice or what understanding would you give to someone trying to understand how do you plan Black joy. I'm very used to planning my life as being very overloaded, and then feeling like if I'm not stressing and struggling, then I'm not productive, and I'm like, we immigrants should be killing ourselves and doing too damn much for people that ain't paying us. And I'm like, this is above my volunteer grade because I don't get enough money for this. Why? Because I don't get paid for this. So given that that's been a lot of our experience, I wonder in both a structural and economic as well as in a personal sense, how do you plan for joy? Or your experience?
Yeah, my experience is first of all, I mean, you really need to, the same thing, the dedication that we have to figuring out what makes us money, you need to take that same energy and figure out what makes you happy. We are not trained to do that. We are not at all trained to do that. So when you have that definition of what makes you happy, I don't care if it's food, I don't care if it's a bath, I do capoeira, whatever it is, there's no judgment. There's no wrong answer, but you need to be honest about yourself. Like, don't do it because it's networking. Don't do it because someone's in the room. Don't do it because you can get to money. Don't do it for any other reason except you genuinely enjoy doing it. And when you have defined what those things are, and sometimes it's going to be with certain people, sometimes it's not. I'm an introvert. I love being by myself. I picked the wrong career, but I don't like being around too many people. Well, but I love being by myself. That is how I heal. I could go hours just listening to the right album, close my eyes and be in bed with a heating pad and think nothing of the world. That is healing for me. And so I plan that. I put it in my calendar so my staff knows that this is my time. There is no like quick phone call to be had. There's nothing to be done. And I treat it just as valuable as my time to make change, to make money as anything else. I plan for it. This week, what am I doing to be joyful? And you once a week, put that in there at least that time for yourself. There are so many, you plan for yourself, you plan for your kids, you plan for your spouse or partner. You plan their doctor's appointments, you plan their health, you plan their happiness, you plan their birthday parties, you plan everything else and everyone else's moment in time. You need to plan your joy. And it just needs to be something where you're just like, this is what I got. And that's it. I also think that what's really important is to genuinely and honestly, I mean, I woke up, after my 30s, 10 years of being really involved in social movement building. And I kind of woke up and I was just like, I haven't been socializing in any of these circles, for all the coming together, the movement building and so on and so forth. These are awesome co-collaborators and co-conspirators for social justice, but these aren't my ride or die friends. And that's a lot of time to be dedicated to building something that's not friendships, that's not loving relationships. These are cool people. These are like coworkers, people I love, like in terms of the work that we did together. But when, Greg died, or when, I went through a divorce before Greg died, I had to pick up the phone and call somebody. And I'll call you for the protest outside somebody's house. I'll call you for something else. I'll call you for this. But like for me to like cry on your shoulder, I didn't realize how little I had dedicated to building that core group of people in my life. So that's a lesson I learned. Social movement building is not socializing. And I learned that after 10 years. So that's something else I would say.
Damn, you just opened my eyes to myself. Thank you so much.
Did I get too real? Did I get too real for you? Huh?
No, that was
perfect. You're doing the same thing.
That was perfect. No, I mean, you made me almost cry on that one, just because I can relate to so much of that. That was awesome. Thank you. I think did somebody else in the UMass crew have their hand up? I couldn't. Okay, who's got their hand?
My name is Camila. I'm not actually a student, but I live in your district. I voted for you. I live in Revere. So I made sure all my roommates, I told all my roommates, because my parents own the home and I have roommates, and I was like, okay, who's registered, who's not registered? You're not registered, then you can, no, I'm just kidding. I wasn't gonna kick them out, but I was like, get registered. And then we're gonna go vote together. I'll drive us, and then we'll make dinner. We made a whole thing about it. So just, rooting for you. And then What else was I gonna say? I was gonna say I was a nanny for several years, and I think I was, because you know when you're a nanny, you be friends with other nannies, and that's how you survive together. Because then the play dates happen and whatever. And I think I remember I was friends or like got close with one of the women who was testifying, I think, in Brookline. I think it was in Brookline. And I just remember like, that exists? Like somebody cares about us? That's crazy. I come from a lineage of women who have always done care work, like whether it be like taking care of the elderly, taking care of children. It's always like a specific gender type of work where I remember leaving that job and I was like, all right, I'm never going back to domestic work. Like I have to change this in my lineage. So I really appreciate that there was folks out there who made it possible for maybe people to stay in that work and for it to be dignified and for it to be valid. And then lastly, I just wanted to appreciate your words on your friendship and movement building, because my larger role here at UMass is I'm program manager for the Civic Action Fellowship Program, and we collaborate with Leverett and the Commonwealth Seminar to create those pipelines that, you know, you've been talking about. And so trying to share and impart my experience in 2020 with George Floyd and like the organizing I did there. And then like all these weird like trauma, like these friendships that you build on trauma in protests, that you build in daily 4 to 6 hour Zoom calls, like planning safety, planning routes, planning canvases, like reaching out to grassroots organizations, like just its root is a fight. And so after a year or so, you realize like our friendships are rooted in trauma. So what do we have? Like, who are we to each other? And it's been like almost 2 years later, and we're still kind of trying to go back to what we shared. Like this small group of organizers that we work together and look at, you know, did we cause each other harm? How can we mend that harm? And like, how can we be better? So that's real. That's all.
Wow, that's incredible. I love how I love how people are able to be so open and honest and vulnerable with you. I mean, let's be honest, there aren't that many public officials. When you think of an elected official, it's not like, yeah, I'm going to pour my heart out to this elected official the first time that I meet her. And the fact that people are able to do that with you and feel comfortable doing that with you just speaks so much of who you are as a person. Never mind an elected official, but you as a person. And you know, again, I think, you know, we're just, you know, we're people are so lucky that you're an elected official, but people are just so lucky that you are there. And so thank you for being there for everybody and so many people, Lydia. And yeah, that's gonna be a tough one to top in terms of, you know, that's the one of the most moving graduation. Again, it wasn't a speech; it was a discussion. You know, we've really never had that, and that was great. And you know, thank all of you for being so open and honest and candid and real with Lydia. Yeah, I can't get over. I mean, can't get over how real that was, and you know, it's a two-way street. You know, and so you know, her sharing and us not, you know, doesn't work as well. But it was both ways, and so, you know, thank you to all of you for for bringing that out of her and out of our class. So, but I expect nothing. I expected nothing less. So I shouldn't be surprised. I really shouldn't be. So thank you all. And so I guess now is sort of what we traditionally do during graduation, which is you're often being spoken to, and you're often, even when you're speaking, you're using your own voice. You're in a group, you're in a breakout room, or you're talking about a particular issue or a topic. And now's the time where we really want to hear from you and what your thoughts are, what how you felt about the seminar, what how what you learned, sort of the classmates, the friendships, the relationships that you may have built. And like I think I put in the email, some folks have announced their candidacies, Kamaya, but others you don't have to. Just kidding. Some have announced their candidacies. You don't have to do that, but but mostly it's just another opportunity to share and for us to get to know each other. And it's especially important in the absence of being together in person. So if there's no requirement for you to say anything, but if you would like to say anything, we really would love to hear from you. So it's the first person's always the toughest, and then usually the dam breaks and more people talk. But oh my gosh, why aren't I surprised? Patrice raised her hand. So I guess that's always the toughest one. So yeah, Patrice, if you want to say something, you want to go first, please go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure I'm really paving the way, but this was an amazing opportunity. And I'm so thankful to you and Diego and to YW Boston for affording me this opportunity. And you think I know how legislation is made, but the way you broke it down, I am using those tools even as we speak with a local organization with which I work at YW Boston, how I'm looking at things or engaging with staff and legislators. I think, what I didn't realize, maybe I missed it, that this was a cohort of all women, which is pretty amazing. But I really want to thank, I'm going to call them the younger generation, which I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but those at UMass Boston right now, like I look at you as our future. I'm still in the game for a long time, but truly to listen to you and Kamai on the first night, sitting in her car, then leaving to go get her 7-month-old baby, like hustling to really get it done. And I think about what I was doing at your age, and it wasn't that, but your commitment to doing the right thing, doing public service, and wanting to take on those challenges. I'm so impressed. And if there's one word I leave with tonight, it's hopeful of the future because of women like you. And so I am thankful and I'm appreciative to everyone here and to the next generation of women who really are and will make a difference. So thank you to everyone.
That was wonderful. Thanks, Patrice. Thanks for sharing that. Yes, I am inspired by, don't let my youthful good looks fool you. I'm pretty old. So I am, this group gives me hope. Yeah, that is a perfect word. It really does gives me hope. So thank you for sharing that, Patrice. Sahan, I think your hand is up. Yes?
Yes, it's up. I would like to echo whatever Patrice said. Absolutely, and my couple of statements. The past few weeks, it's that I've been on Zoom with a room full of the most intelligent and wonderful women with fabulous, fresh perspectives and ideas. It's been an absolute honor to be a part of this group. Thank you, Commonwealth Seminar, for giving me an opportunity of a lifetime. It's certainly been a humbling experience. I have always believed in working together as a community to make changes, whether it's big or small. After the past few weeks of the seminar and being with you all, I'm more confident and positive that we can work together to begin to chip away racial injustices and bring reform in education, public health, and other issues. It's not going to be easy, but I believe in the wonderful people in the Commonwealth who make up this beautiful yet clearly imperfect community. It is up to us to continue to make these improvements. Lastly, this is something that I thought about, which I've been passionate about. I would like to end this by a quote by Kofi Annan. Let us remember that the large number of citizens who day in and day out through acts of volunteerism, large and small, bring hope to so many of the world's disadvantaged. Let us ensure that this wonderful resource available in abundance to every nation is recognized and supported as it works towards a more prosperous and peaceful world. Again, like Patrice said, there are so many young people here in this group who certainly can make that big change and big difference in this world. So thank you to each and every one of you.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Sahana. Thanks for sharing. Let's see. Oh, Madeline. Madeline's here.
There we are. Hi. I just wanted to briefly, I guess, respond to some of what's been said before. In that, as someone who is, I mean, every person in this group is amazing, doing incredible work, both as a part of the seminar series and well beyond. But I don't know. I guess it's always important to me to note that we have lots of conversations about how the hope of a younger generation and I think it's always important to also keep in mind how I guess important it is to me as someone who is younger and is new to all of these, to legislature, to all sorts of different things, to be in community, to be in spaces with folks who have been fighting the good fight, getting in good trouble for long before I started. It's so important to me in so many different ways to see people who are continuing to do amazing work. So just wanted to bring that up as well.
Oh, thank you, Madeline. And that definitely echo your sentiments there. So thank you. And thank you for being part of this class and the commitment you've brought. See, anybody else would like to say anything? A few words. Anybody? Oh, okay. I saw somebody. See, maybe it's hopeful, but I think I thought I saw somebody in the UMass crew raise their hand. Was that was I being hopeful, or was I just seeing things? Because it's small on my screen.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Just so you know, when you think that you see the UMass people like all staring off into the distance, they're looking at a screen at everybody.
Oh no, because you can see up the top,
No,
like there's a thing up the top. So I'm like, we can see the screen that you're I think I can see the screen you're looking at. So
not
yeah.
from UMass, but I came to UMass because I want to know you guys, all of you, and I live kind of nearby. So if you ever have time, I would love to go. I would love to plan Joy with you. I would love to go for a walk if you want, or have a coffee. That would be. I would love that. Pandemic is weird. But what we're trying to cover is so important. And it has helped me already in my work. I have this policy platform I'm trying to push, and I didn't know what a policy platform was before, or what it meant if something gets out of committee. And now I just told a senator to support my policy platform, and I'm gonna ask her to make me one of her budget priorities. and I wrote a thank you note this week. FYI. That was as much like Natalie as I've ever taken personal initiative to be, but it's always been sort of group things, but now I feel a little bit more confident to do that, let my own voice be heard within the group, or even just let it be heard individually. I'm gonna stop talking, but thank you for organizing this. Thank you. I was also really moved by Diego's story of trying to have a voice in this community with the immigrant family, and can a bit relate. And I really want to have that one-to-one with Ling Mei. And I'm gonna stop talking now, but love to you all. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you so much. Thanks for being, like I said, thank you for being real. That was great. And it's always fun to see that whole group over in one screen. That's the first time we've actually had that. So it's actually a lot of fun to see so many of you in one room. So let's see. I think Ling Mei and then Jasmine. So
I talk a lot, so I'll try to be brief, but it's sort of just like I've met, I've interviewed, I've had to cover a lot of these politicians, and you always know who's in it because they love the community, and you know who's in it because they just want to like network, and they're like mediocre white guys, but like they know so and so, or they're well connected. And so it's yeah, so I'm from the press side. But I'm just like, it can't be that hard to run a campaign. If like that guy can run for office, like it's like, hey, I'm white and I have lawn signs. I'm just like, dang, like that's your whole platform. Like I should run for office. But it's like, I don't think I want to deal with angry constituent calls. And I'm the one that routinely also gets all the letters to the editor that's just like, did you hear what Leverett did? He's a bad guy because he forgot my name at an event, or you know, like people can hold grudges for a really long time. And so that's sort of the beauty of public office. And I'm from Taiwan. Taiwan has a super vibrant democracy. Voter turnout is like 90.9%, like, and it's because it's like on Saturdays and there's a public holiday, and you like literally get like a little postcard in the mail, and it's just like, you gotta vote, and here are all the candidates, and this is like one sentence platform for everybody. And so it's like everybody's like, oh, okay, so like Leverett's on the platform, Kamaya's running for president, like, you know, sort of like this is your polling station, and this is the date and the time that you vote. And so I love Taiwan democracy. I also love Taiwan press, because it'll just be like, Leverett and his girlfriend were at the motel, and here are pictures. And it's sort of just like, I didn't need to know that. Yes, there's a very, the tabloid culture is very vibrant, and we have tabloids in America too, but it's sort of just like we don't even know who our city councilors are, or sort of just like we just take for granted like democracy, and that you can just like go on Twitter and call Charlie Baker offensive words. So it's, I think yeah, I just have really learned a lot, and I think I'm so humbled that, right, like Kamaya is doing so much more than I was doing when I was like in a senior in college. I was like doing journalism and babysitting, but like, you know, I didn't have a 7-month-old kid, and I didn't have to do the work of being a woman of color, taking up space and doing class and social justice work and having to represent. And so yeah, I'm just in awe of everyone I've met, and I can't wait to have everyone over to my house, and then we can have like a full-on gossip session about Leverett. We will be our little Commonwealth seminar village, and we will talk smack about Leverett. So
thank goodness my earphones are plugged in and my speakers are not active. So thank goodness. So anyway, all right, Jasmine, you're up.
Hi everyone. I just want to thank everyone really for like just the camaraderie and like our little Commonwealth community, because it's amazing to like be able to connect virtually within like a short time like this and really just have like genuine connections. Obviously, some of us know each other from previous experiences, but to just have like such a flow, it's really like, it's been really divine to me, like to just have this experience, because especially among women, and then just having this like disconnect virtually, it's not always so wonderful. And it's been wonderful. Like I talk about it all the time in my cohort for my major. You know, you would think that we would be, you know, a little more connected, and you know, there's the ones that you are connected with, but majority like you're not. But I feel like we all really understand how we have to work together here to like achieve what we want overall. as individuals and as a collective. So thank you, everyone. This has been like, I can't even like put it into words. I don't even know. It's exceeded my expectations so much. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jasmine. That's really heartening to hear and really inspiring to hear. We, so grateful that you thought it was worthwhile. And I love the word divine. That is awesome. I love that word. Thank you so much for sharing that word. So let's see, anybody else? Who else? Oh, Maria Elena. Yep.
Hi, Leverett. I want to start with a big thank you.
Mhm.
And I don't speak as beautiful as you all guys do. I'm not as young as you are, but this seminar gave me so much hope. And if I die tomorrow, I'm gonna die very happy. But at the same time, this gave me a sense of a motivation not because the young people is involved so much and so well and all this, but it is young people who are involved in politics. I don't come from a field from politics, but I was always, interested. How does it work? I was doing like the advocacy solo way and solo motion, and I didn't find the connection. And wherever I went, it was like each one is doing their own job. So probably these kind of seminars would help everybody to have a little light and guide you. This is the way it should go, because none of us, I don't think, would learn what I learned at this time about politics, about the legislation and all this. I'm coming from the minority, from the Latino community, and most of our people, not all of them, but we all talk about poverty and discrimination, but still there are some people in our community that are very smart, very intelligent, and they have so much talent, they can use it. They can certainly use it, but for the other ones and the rest of all of us, they are probably so busy making a living, put food on the table, and they don't have time to deal with this. So I could appreciate what I learned, and probably to reach out to more people, not necessarily to be a politician. That's not my intention, to be a politician, but yes, to learn about this. Obviously, I can support any of you. So that's what I mean from the rest of people, for all of us to be knowledgeable about politics, so we know who to choose, who to support too. And thank you again. This was a very great experience. I was mute most of the time because I was just absorbing all this experience and knowledge that you very kindly share with us. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Marilena. That was very touching and moving. Thank you so much for sharing. Is that a hand up at the UMass and the UMass crew, or is that an older hand that was up, or is that a new hand?
New hand. It's new.
Okay, who's there?
This is Falion.
Hey.
The camera to pan. It just moves when it wants to. So I just, yeah. There we go. I'll relay my thank yous as well. Especially as I came in second session and you still let me join the entire seminar. So I definitely did want to say thank you for that. I would leave inspired as well as like in a sense of humor at the same time. So we'll be you can see us laughing is where politics meets funny. But I always enjoy those experiences. I think I came into the first session to I think to contributions that Ling was giving, and I was like, who is that? She cool. And that was, I was like, okay, talk more. And so every time we come into a conversation, I'm learning a lot, especially I know that I don't know the systematic level or structural level of things as well as I would like to. And it's always very difficult to dig back into that because the system don't make no sense to nobody. And it doesn't try to make sense to anybody. So I appreciate the fact that y'all are trying to make that accessible, especially with the work that I want to do in the future. I'm glad that same as Marie, even if I'm not in every political space, to have that understanding and to be able to share that understanding means a lot. I think when it begins the first step of growth, and usually when you don't know how to take that step by yourself, y'all really took a lot of those steps for me. And so I just wanted to say thank you for that. It's definitely dope to be in that space and to be interactive with it. So I'll relay my appreciation and hope that, you know, we all support Kamaya's campaign. But yes, and hi Candy, we miss you. But yes, I genuinely appreciate having been in this space. And I'm glad and hope that, you know, in the summer, you know, we see us on the boat. But we'll work on it. We'll work on it. But yes, but thank you for at least providing an education on interactive space, and one that takes ownership of the things that we want to learn, the things that we want to grow with, and allows us to brainstorm, especially, and give creativity even in a space that where we're talking about the political and structural matters. It does a lot for my brain as a youth that feels like an old person at the same time. So thank you, and yeah.
Thanks so much, and you know, so glad that you stuck it out. And even a lot of folks who missed the first class are like, I missed the first class, I'm not even going to bother. But you came, you were persistent, you stayed, and you're such an important part of the class and your voice. And so thank you. You know, thank you for your commitment to the seminar. I appreciate that so much. Let's see. Oh, Rachel, and then Janet.
Hi, everyone. I don't have a lot to say that hasn't already been said, but I just wanted to say I've learned just as much from all of you in this class and in our breakout sessions as I have from all of the speakers. So I just appreciate how much everyone was willing to be open and honest and share your experiences with this group. It's been a really incredible learning experience. And I think the mission of the Commonwealth Seminar to bring these civic education opportunities to more people is so inspiring. And I look forward to working with you all on campaigns and supporting your policy initiatives and voting for Kamaya for president. And I'm just, I don't know what I'm going to do with my Wednesday evenings from now on. Thank you all.
That's awesome. Thanks, Rachel. So I think you've been drafted, Kamaya, whether you like it or not. So it's and there's no waiting now. So you got to do it. So, all right. Oh, yeah, it's like Jeanette, please.
Hi, everyone. I'll be quick. I just want to say thank you to Leverett and the whole entire Commonwealth Seminar team. When Leverett came to one of the Civic Action Fellowship workshops, and he shared a little bit about what the Commonwealth Seminar entails, and how you can be a part of it to have access to government. I was like, oh, that's definitely something I wanted to join. And just from what the Commonwealth Seminar presented, it exceeded my expectations with the many people that's in this cohort. I've learned so much from everyone that's here. You all are all inspiring, and a lot of your stories that have come out here will continue to stick with me and inspire me to do organizing work, community engagement, and just making a better society for us all and a better community. So thank you all for spending these weeks, and thank you for the inspiration.
Great, thank you, Jeanette. I see something in the chat from Patrice about carrots. Did somebody already answer you, or do you need somebody to answer that for you?
Madeline did. So
okay.
If you know Leverett and I don't, that's going to be very shameful.
I don't even. I mean, I can barely use the chat, so there's no way I'm going to know anything that you don't know. So yeah, so I have no idea. Yeah, you're going to have to tell me, or Madeline, if you want to chat me directly and tell me what's going on, then I have. Yeah, you feel free to do that. So anyway, all right. Anybody else? Would anybody else like to share anything? Okay, going once. Oh, was that you, Jaylee? Okay, Jaylee's one of our alumni. So yeah, please. And she's also a UMass Boston alumni, so she's a double alum. So yeah, Jaylee, please feel free to share.
Thank you all for allowing alumni of the seminar to join your space. It's just struck me how y'all have really, even I was here for a little bit last week, and this week, just how y'all have been able to just cultivate conversation with one another, just show loving community and care to one another. It's incredible. And I had the opportunity at UMass Boston my senior year to be in a class of all women of color. And just having an all women class is so incredible, and it's such a precious space. And just really take this space in. And when you're going through something or you feel challenged, just know that everyone in this room you have behind you, backing you up. And remember the space, remember your conversations, call on each other, call on the older women in your life, your aunties, to really just support you and be there for you and embrace what being women is, and why it's so important to keep our network and support one another through everything. And to my UMB crew, the alumni, and then also all the folks who are joining in and have from outside of UMass Boston, all the bridges that y'all have been able to create. It's so, so important to be able to help the larger community. And it's so awesome to see that y'all want to get coffee with one another, brunch, join with one another, share ideas, share stories. It's just, y'all are such an inspiration, and it's so important to have that. And another thing is just to remember your worth, whether that's with a job, with pay, or whether that's if you want to run for a position. Know your worth, know that everything that you've learned these past 6 weeks, which I'm sure this session felt really fast for me. So I'm sure the past 6 weeks have like blown by for y'all. But just really remember that y'all have this knowledge and that you are strong and you are worth everything, and that we'll support y'all with whatever endeavors that you're going through. And even as an alum that wasn't part of this class, I'm always here to support. And it's so awesome to see y'all striving for things, Kamaya for president, and just all of the things that y'all are doing, big, small, it all matters in your communities. And yeah, and one thing that I did want to share is that the all women class that I was a part of, Leonie was also a part of, and we had created a zine. It is directed towards women of color, but all women can share in the ideas that we had talked about, especially the healing portion of the zine. And so I'll share that in the chat if y'all want to take a look, read through that, take in what we had kind of created. And thank you again, all of you, for allowing me into this incredible space. And I'm so excited to see what y'all are going to do in the future.
Thank you, Jaylee, and thanks for being such an engaged alum. You know, I mean, Jaylee shows up to everything. She was at pretty much every single homecoming week activity, and you know, since she graduated, she's just been everywhere that we've been, and we're grateful that you share all of your time with us. And by the way, I love it when you say y'all. That is one of the coolest things. So, but we are grateful for you, and we're grateful for you staying engaged, and you know, and we hope that, you know, all of you stay engaged as well. I mean, there are opportunities. Like I said, you think you got spam from me now? Wait until after tonight. So you know, there are many opportunities. And oh, I see Jacqueline. Sorry, I missed your hand up there, Jacqueline. Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, no problem. I put it up after Jaylee, so it's fine. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you, although I know I missed the first class, so I didn't get to do initial introductions with you all, but it has been super exciting to be in a room or in this space with all of you. I don't know that I've ever been in any space outside of a UMass Boston classroom where there were so many either students at UMass Boston or alums, which made me really excited. I finished my undergrad at UMass Boston, and I'm back there now working on a degree. So I'm really excited to see so many people who have attended UMass Boston or are at UMass Boston right now. And I'm super excited to see what you all are doing in the future. I know that I've already linked up with some of you all on social media in terms of us just friending each other, but I'm really excited to follow your journeys as you continue on and see the amazing things that you do, whether it is becoming a president of the United States, a senator, leaders in your community in many different ways. It's just really super exciting to see what all of you are thinking of doing and are doing already in your lives. And I thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to being a J. Lee in terms of being an engaged alum. I've already emailed Leverett and to harass him about, next seminar and trying to sit in on some sessions so that I can redo some of the stuff that you all got to do when I was either disconnected from my internet or what have you. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to putting into practice all the many things that we learned. And that video on how to make a bill, or how a bill becomes a bill, it brought me back to my childhood PBS days. And so this class has just been a joy for me to be in. And I'm really excited to see what all of you are doing in the future.
Great. Thanks so much, Jacqueline. Really appreciate it. And yes, the word joy is great. I mean, it really has been a joy to meet and work with everybody over these past 6 weeks, which went so fast. It just went so fast. So, thank you all and when you think about it, 6 weeks, that's if you say to somebody, I've got a 6-week program for you, like, yeah, that's kind of long, but it went so quickly. And it's a credit to all of you who made it so enjoyable, and so thank you all for being committed, and thank you again for making it so much fun and something to look forward to. So